Hey everyone. So, welcome to Thursday's live face class. If you missed it in person and you showed up at 6 o'clock, I did put a note that my girlfriend was turning 60 and I couldn't do a live because this was planned way in advance and I couldn't miss our surprise party. So, I did record this earlier in the morning and did put something in the website that I would be doing the live at 10. Um, so I'm sorry for the confusion. Today, we're going to work the forehead. And I thought because a lot of you taking this class or doing this live are estheticians, I wanted to show you some muscles that we're working when we are doing the release. I wanted you to really understand why we're doing what we're doing so that it kind of makes sense. Sometimes when I do something, I don't really want to do it unless I understand the why behind it. So I'm going to pull up a couple of images super fast. One in particular that I use in classes. And I'm going to pull this up now. And I'm going to share my screen to this. And hopefully you can kind of see this. Sorry, this was a diagram that I used to use in my classes when I taught. And everybody got kind of a screenshot of this. And I'm thinking of remaking it and having it on the website as a PDF that you can download and kind of look while you're doing this. But the facial muscles are really interesting. So we talk muscles and then we talk fascia. So let's separate the two, okay? So muscles are independent and with fascia. Did you ever watch my fat Greek my Greek fat wedding or the fat Greek wedding or something like that? And there's a woman in the aunt says, honey, the man might be the head of the family, but the woman is the neck, and the neck turns the head. And that's kind of how we need to look at our facial aging. Aging may show in the face, but it starts in the body, and the body controls how the face ages. So we're going to be working the frontalis. And for those that don't know that name, this is the frontalis, and it is, let's see if I can kind of show you this area here. And then it also goes back to region 2 and 3. So I'm just going to do it by numbers. So we've got 10, and it goes over the orbicularis oris, which is this round muscle around the eyes. You have the plateau or the frontalis, which we all know about, but we rarely talk about the aponeurosis, which connects. So this is kind of the aponeurosis. It's more of a tendon, and it connects right down to the belly of the frontalis. And then we have the occipital, and that's kind of the hooking point. And then we have these triceps. So all of this plays into the forehead lines that you're seeing on the face. And when we look at number 3, these the trapezius, that's responsible for really holding up the head as we're jutting forward, working on clients or looking at our phones. So when I talk about releasing in the body, the rib cage, the deltoids, the shoulders, the trapezius, all of this plays into that heavy tension that we feel in the head. So today, while we're working on the frontalis, we are going to go over again the top part of the orbicularis oculi. We're going to go into the procerus and those muscles. We're going to work into the frontalis of the forehead, and then we're going to work back here at the occipital. And if you have the block at home, you can always work this belly of the muscle back here. So I hope that kind of helps you with why we're doing what we're doing. So we're going to start with the block, and we're just going to place our head. We're going to lift our eyebrows, and we're going to place the block right here. And we're going to hold. And then we're going to be moving over here, and then we're going to kind of flatten it. I love the logo, but I don't like the logo on my face, so I always kind of put it that way. We're going to flatten it here, and we're going to flatten it here. Then we're going to go to the ears, and then we're going to go to the occipital. And then today we'll do more of a full face microcurrent. I'm going to be using 2 probes today. So if you want to pause this video and grab and hook up another probe, get that in line because we are going to go right into the microcurrent section right after we do this. So I always time my sessions when I'm doing block therapy or the face release on timer plus. I'm giving you ways to do this. I kind of build up my own thought process on the release and how I want to do it. But the key is you can do this in bed. You can take a couple of these favorite movements or favorite positions that kind of bring on a little bit more like a release or relief. And you can do these when you're laying in bed. So I'm going to go ahead and start. And we're going to lift our eyebrows. We're going to place the block right there. Okay, don't even get alarmed here. This was an esthetician faux pas. I wanted to see what would happen if I let the glycolic on longer. So it was intentional. Stupidly intentional, but still intentional. Um, I'm just experimenting, as we all do. So just kind of holding, I like my arms on a table because I can just lean into this and start to decompress this area. And sometimes when you're doing this, you might not feel anything at all. You might just feel like this isn't doing anything. But after about a minute, you start to hit a different layer. And I almost like that you don't feel something right away because we're letting the pressure fibers of the fascia start to melt and we go into this area. So in that chart, we talked a little bit about how the muscles and how they all work together to shape the frontalis and the dynamic wrinkles. But the fascia is actually what holds those muscles in place. So think of the releasing the fascia like a natural Botox. When we can relax that grip and those adhesions. And that grip can grip to bone at a force of almost 2,000 pounds per inch. So what we're doing is we're really trying to create a dynamic, like consistent pressure to decompress those fibers to reorganize. And when we work the body along with it, we do get a full alignment, but it isn't always pretty. And that's something that really scares a lot of people because I'm sure you've heard Deanna and I talk about it. There are times that you look worse and it sucks, but you have to trust the process because the process is true rejuvenation. We're not freezing upon already frozen tissue. We're not putting Botox just to alleviate the outward appearance. We're actually starting to release the grip. So I'm going to start going over to the right just a little bit now. And I'm right on that 11s line. And you may feel a different sensation when you're sitting right on this spot and you're lifting and we're pressing in. And we're in the last session, we worked really inside the orbicularis oculi. So we worked really inside this orbital bone. Today, we're really working on the eyebrow, that kind of that superficial, right where the frontalis goes in and it kind of goes right into the eye muscle. So now we're just kind of going over to the side and we're going to start working the right eyebrow. And just kind of take note and sensation as you breathe in. I always think about 3 minutes. It should be a good 15 breaths. And I like to just inhale in and hold and exhale and hold. And maybe think of doing the box breathing at 5 seconds per session. So it'd be inhaling for 5, holding for 5, exhaling everything out, and holding. And it's in the exhale that we excrete 84% of the toxins that keep weight in on us. So just by learning to breathe properly, you can cleanse all of the gunk in between the cells out and rehydrate those cells. And that, along with good skincare, is really important. I guess I should say actually good skincare, but the strategic kind of layering of good skincare. And that is that's personal. It isn't a one size fits all. So as you're working with clients and you're really trying to figure out, it's really going to the first priority of concern and then going up and kind of working from that up. Because many times when you take care of that first priority, let's just say it's dehydration or it's just lack of circulation, many times addressing those roots will solve your second and third priority concerns. So I'm still in this corner area, but I can feel the fibers, the pressure fibers starting to soften. And now I'm going to kind of twist this paddle because by twisting, we can reset those adhesions a lot faster than by just trying to pull apart. So as I twist, I notice where I feel the most. And for me, it's when I pull this handle down and to the side towards my temple. And I can really start to feel some changes. It's just kind of holding in this area. I can even feel this on the side of my nose. Take a nice deep breath in and exhale and hold that exhale. Let your body kind of really use that oxygen that you've given to the cells. Don't just saturate it once again. And when you're ready, let's just kind of angle this block a little bit more. So now I'm just like kind of, a lot of the pressure is right above that eyebrow. And as I'm pressing into this paddle, I'm going to kind of shear to the other side. So I'm on my right side. I'm kind of shearing the tissue to the left and I'm pulling up and I'm just seeing how that feels. You'll find an area that speaks to you, and that's the area you should work. And if you feel comfortable, kind of play around in that area. I'm moving out now a little bit more to the outer edge. Um, and see, and do you see how I'm pulling in here? I don't want you to get concerned about that pull and stretching the skin. The skin is far more resilient than that. You know, the skin is a tensedric kind of network of give and take. And so it shifts its portions of strength. So right now it's giving up and it's putting more air. It's kind of created a change and we're decompressing along this brow. All of this will settle down in a reformatted position. The biggest thing that we take for granted. And the biggest thing that makes the change is when we keep the pressure for a minimum of 3 minutes. And continuing to have this pressure, we start to reorganize the tissue in this area. About another minute. If you feel like moving and searching, just kind of pressing. I'm going to take about 3 more deep breaths in and exhaling all the oxygen out. This forces the body to use the oxygen more efficiently. And when you're ready, we're going to move right into the temple, right over the ear. The temple is just so interesting because it controls so much. It controls the masseter and the muscles in the jaw. It controls the frontalis. It controls a lot of the crow's feet and the intensity, the bicularis oculi, how engaged this muscle becomes. So I think it's a muscle that you can work almost every day. I don't think that it's something that you can overwork. And what you'll really start to notice is the more you begin to release it, the more this area in the temple starts to fill in. It doesn't become so gaunt because of the tight adhesions. So really begin to kind of press more into this. If you need to use another hand and push into that paddle. And as you start to feel the connection and you start to feel the pressure fibers release, I want you to start to twist into that space. And as you start to kind of weave that pressure throughout that muscle, you may even find its own little pattern. You may want to shear front and back, up and down, but the key is to do it slowly so that we're not just writing surfacely on this area, but that we are creating pathways of openings, not just surface level friction. As you go deeper, you may even realize there's a connection now. You feel the connection that we looked at in the muscle images between the temporalis and the occipital. And this is because the fascia works, kind of coordinates all the muscle movements to support the body at every angle. I think if I were to give even a different example, I would look at the fascia as kind of like the overall supervisor and the muscles as the construction workers. And the muscles do the work, but the fascia kind of coordinates how the muscles need to work. And it holds it in place. And when we decompress this, we start to kind of reactivate a different plan. We start to release the memory of the fascia and reset it. So now we're going to go back to the occipital. And the occipital is right under that neck. So it's right where the trapezius meets the neck. And we're going to just press deep inside this area. We're just holding in this space. And this is again something you can, if you have a block or a block buddy or a baby block, or honestly, I think I've talked to you guys before. What I've done with clients in the treatment room is I've taken, those carts at IKEA. They're really cute. I think every esthetician probably has one in their room. They're three-tiered and they're buckets. And then they sell these bamboo like wood to go over it in case you want to set a machine on it. I think literally the bamboo wood is $3, $6 as IKEA prices. I put that underneath my client's head. And when I'm working on my client, I will press into that board and I shift to really work the back of that scalp to get a nice release. In bed, you can use the block buddy or the block baby. You can sometimes I just don't use a pillow. I just lay on that. And it's a nice way to really get that neck to release. Um, yeah, it's pretty cool. So you start to feel, you can always feel that acquiesce of the tissue. And as you do now, I want you to kind of lift your neck up and pull this down. So it's almost like we're creating space right before that top cervical vertebrae in the atlas. We're giving the head a little bit more flexibility to move. The more you breathe, the more you give all the cells that were kind of waking up and releasing from the tension and the adhesions, you're giving them food and nutrients. That oxygen goes to that area. So breathe into that area. In about 15 more seconds. So maybe find another space. If this is a place you want to linger longer, just pause the video, see, and linger when you do this again. Okay, the final one on this side of the face, when I like to use this side, not the logo side, because I feel like it's going to brand me if I do. So we're just going to place this all over the frontalis and lean into this. So we're going to lean directly in, and as we lean, eventually we're going to lift up, and then we'll kind of wiggle right into that hairline. Okay, so let's just start right in this area, pressing in. And you're the dictator of this. So you determine what is good for you. I'm showing you the space, I'm showing you the location, but I can't feel that aha place. So when you kind of wiggle, it might be in the very beginning, kind of in the procerus, where we first started out. It might be out towards the temple, but find your aha, because this frontalis muscle does connect to the bone. And that's where all of these adhesions start. So we're just going in and we're starting to kind of recalibrate the grip. And you may not feel anything, and that's okay. That just means that the nerves are trapped. They aren't even aware of pressure right now. So that's why you want to just hold in this area even longer, because pretty soon the nerves will start to reactivate. One thing I've noticed since I've done this is pigmentation appearing and disappearing. And, as we work the fascia on the face, it's like like layers of an onion. It just, you're just kind of peeling and peeling and changing and shifting and reorganizing. And that's, it's a process. If you're starting this at 20, your process is different than starting it at 60. But if you question it and it's hard, then what I suggest is you go down the rabbit hole of fascia. Don't just take Jane's word for fascia or Jane's definition of fascia. There are so many amazing individuals. And it's like I got an email today from a local wellness. Now they're talking about fascia. So as you go down this, you're one of the pioneers even working this. And this is only going to get bigger. It's not going away. People are really starting to figure it out. And so it's really worth just continuing on this journey and using yourself as the test guinea pig. So as you talk to your clients or as you talk to your friends, you have your own story. You have your own success story or you have your own testimonial. And that's bigger than any textbook can tell you. That's bigger than any just written essay because your experience, your words, your testament. So I'm just kind of, I haven't wiggled all the way up only because I kind of found a space that I was like, oh, holy shit. But now I'm up in that hairline and I'm going to hold for another 3 minutes, just up in this hairline area. This might be really painful for a lot of people because this is a really commonplace Botox goes in. And the more times that you get Botox, even if it's with a diabetic needle, however it's administered, it's still little miniature wounds that the fascia starts to grip, especially when that muscle or that nerve is dead to the muscle. So you might start to feel a little bit more sensation in this area. Just play around with it. To me, it's always fun because it's like always like a little treasure hunt. What what I'm going to run into and what that feels like. I notice as I'm doing it, I'm thinking, gosh, now I want to go back and do that temple. So, and on the next side, what we may do is do this and then the temple, and then let's just see how that works, how you like that. Um, there is no right or wrong. It's not like if you go out of order or you you do a routine differently that your face is going to collapse or look weird. I really wish I had the ability to explain exactly the magic of this pressure and what it's doing to the cells. But we're freeing up like imagine like when you think of that Iceman they found that was like flash frozen and then he starts to thaw and he looks like a new person. It's kind of like that. We are really going in and we're correcting the cell's message code. So the messages that the cells are producing right now are being reorganized through this pressure. We're also forcing hydration and we're fueling it through the oxygen. And it's so damn simple. Anybody can do this. And it can be done with the tools that are provided by block therapy. It can be done by a block that you might find. I just think that it's easier. I think I've always kind of been out of respect. Deanna Hansen created this system that I really believe in. So I always believe that she should get the credit or the sale. Because it's her idea and it's her kind of vision. But I'm sure you can find wooden blocks anywhere. It's really up to you. All right, so we are now done with this side of the face. And wow, it feels amazing. It's so damn crazy. We're going to start now on the other side of the face. And we're going to start again, even though we started at the center, we're going to do it again, and you're going to see the difference. We're going to migrate over on the superficial, I call it superficial, but what I mean is kind of like the top part of the brow. And then instead of going right to the temple, we're going to do kind of what we just did and then go to the temple and then the occipital. So let's go ahead, starting right in here and press in to this area. And again, it's kind of the general procerus area. This is kind of like right in between the nose. And what I'm going to do as well, it is up. I'm just going to do my desktop. Perfect. All right, so maybe you can see I love these two images. And you can kind of reflect to them while we're doing this, but we're here in the procerus area. And you can see that's kind of number 10. This is the area that we're working because it all works together. But then the photo with all the veins and the blood supply and the lymph nodes, when we start decompressing in this area, we're activating everything, everything in this area. We're creating blood supply, we're creating nutrients. And that's what's so exciting about doing this type of work because we're activating everything that the skincare actually needs to be efficient. You know, you can't just put skincare on dead skin or skin that doesn't have blood flow or receptors or signaling because it just won't work. So when you do this, whatever line you're using has a chance to be more effective. So now I'm going to kind of shift over now to this left, right in that 11s area, more in the corner. I have my eyebrow lifted and I'm just kind of going into that like, oh, holy shit area. And kind of that space that you see creates so much tension and so much heaviness in the brow. Don't forget your breathing. And, I like the box breath of inhaling and exhaling for at least 6, but if you can increase it to 10, do that. Let's try it. So we're going to take a deep breath in and hold and exhale. And hold. If 10 seconds is too long, let's try 7 and see how that feels for you. And hold and exhale. Now move to the arch of the eyebrow, right in the very center on top of the eyebrow. To find it, you might want to lift your eyebrows and place the block right in there. But this is going to give you the ability to rock back and forth. So we're lifting the brow, placing the paddle, placing the tension in. And this again might be really sensitive. So go with your breath. Don't go in and just like massacre this area, But go to where the tension feels tolerable and then let the pressure release and you'll be able to go deeper. But anytime we force something, the body is going to react by kind of resisting. And we're not looking for resisting, we're looking for an acquiesce, the ability that the block can go in deeper. And let's start. I want you just to count. Inhale for 7, hold for 7, exhale for 7, hold for 7. Now you might want to twist into that block, seeing if there's a sensation or resistance in a certain way. And when you find that resistance, just go ahead and hold in that space. And as you do this more and more, you're going to know what that resistance is for you. And you're first starting, the whole sensations are so new. Just trust the process. And soon you'll start to have a better sense of what you're doing. Now let's go out to the side, the tail end of the brow, kind of holding. Kind of rolling into that space that you feel. Taking a deep breath in. Rolling more forward. Kind of finding your space. You might want to go to that space right above the brow, right above the brow. I get a little wrinkle right there and play around in that area. What does that feel like? I was reading a book, really interesting. It's like from the 50s, and it was maybe even the 30s. It was written by Joseph Pilates. And even then, he says very few people find the time to take care of themselves. And yet, if they did, their bodies would age differently. And I thought that was really interesting. Even in the 30s, people were too busy. What were they busy doing? I don't know. But they were busy and they didn't take care of themselves. So this is like kind of like an age. This is a multi-generational issue. This isn't just the what are they called? Millennials. This isn't just the baby boomers. This is just laziness that we've learned to be too busy for ourselves. But this one time while you're doing this, just to experience what you're feeling instead of trying to dictate what you're feeling and be a part of it instead of trying to just control the discomfort. Be aware of it, be involved with it. And when you're ready, I want you to flatten the paddle. I'm going to go right on that whole forehead, really pressing in. And also, so we're pressing in and shearing up or down. And kind of twist into that space. Finding the area that really speaks to you, that's needed. All of this area can really make the forehead feel heavy. It can create a tension behind the eyes. As you're pressing in, I want you to kind of take your chin down towards your chest, shearing up, and now kind of turn your head to the right, angling, feeling a little different sensation. Might even feel it more in the occipital at this point, that direct connection between the frontalis, the aponeurosis, going right into that occipital area. And when you're ready, you might want to go more into that hairline, finding some of those spaces. Sometimes I like to angle it right at the round part of the block, really getting specific into this area, rolling, taking a deep breath in, exhaling. Inhaling deeply, bringing oxygen to all of that space. Exhaling even deeper. Exhaling all of the toxins, the waste, carbon monoxide that gets stagnant. Deep into this space. Holding for about 30 more seconds. And we're going to move into the temple area. And when you're ready, let's go right into that temple area above the ear. I'm just going to kind of smash that whole area. Again, this gets so overworked. It's just, it's just really one of these muscles. Every time we talk, it's engaged. Every time we clench, it's engaged. Every time we squint, it's engaged. It's a very active area that it's no wonder it hollows as we get older. If you like the flat, use the flat. If you want something a little bit more intense, use the side. But I honestly think this is an area you could work every single day. And it's beneficial. At first, you may set it on the block on there and you don't feel anything. And that's only because It's so dense that we talk about the fibrotic or the overbuild. We've got to kind of get down to where those nerves are so that we can start to reorganize the patterning, the neurotransmitters. And then you might get to a place that you're just like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. I feel it. And that's going to go through a range of sensations. And all of that is very normal. So experience it versus fearing it. We're taught pain is bad, but we're not taught that pain is awareness. In fact, I kind of came up with an acronym for pain: personal awareness, intuitive nurturing. And so instead of fighting and running, just create the awareness and what that means. And then intuitively explore it, nurture it. Okay, you might want to roll forward, just kind of play around in that section. About 30 more seconds. We're going to move to the occipital and we're going to begin with microcurrent. And we are going to use 2 probes today. All right, let's go ahead. Coming back to the occipital and really kind of digging, it's such a bad word. Placing pressure, better than digging, but it is digging. Like we really want that area to go in, releasing, resetting. But it's your job after this to hold your head up more erect, to stand aligned, to root in your standing, not to get lazy and lean to one side like we're doing right now, but try to maybe keep your feet balanced on the floor, pressing in. This can also be done laying down on the block buddy. I'm going to play around in some videos that we do double blocking while doing the face. And that might be really fun. Go deeper in that, kind of call it the shampoo bowl area, like kind of digging in that space. You might want to play with angling your jaw up, pulling that tissue down, creating more area of blood flow. This actually really works on the neck, helping loosening the adhesions that create those tight neck bands. About 30 more seconds, and then we're going to get ready to do microcurrent. So we're going to prep our skin, put our face gel on. I don't really care what program you use today. It's really up to you. I always like to go with program one and then program two, and I look at it more for depth, superficial, and then going deeper into the muscle area to hydrate and plump. Okay, when you're ready, see how that feels? And let's get ready for our skincare. Oh, I'm gonna just kind of mist, and then put on my gel. I have to say, and again, I'm not selling this product, but in all the years I have done microcurrent, this Young Goose Hyperbaric Gel doesn't dry out. I have to mist it from time to time, but I'm slightly obsessed with it. It is a ridiculously high buy-in, and I was so curious about it. I did, but I would sell it to you guys, just minus the like plus the shipping, the wholesale of the back bar if you wanted to use it in your treatment room. It it's definitely worth it. And I think it is an excellent, I use it on sensitive skins. I use it as a moisturizer when I'm flying. Um, but it's got oxygen in it and let's look at the ingredients before I start raving about it. The first ingredient is water, glycerin, a yeast extract, um, ananassa, strawberry seed extract, seawater. There is a seed oil that I'm going to Google to make sure it's conductive, but I feel like I don't question it's not conductive. Um, I am going to look more into it before I start chatting about how wonderful it is. But I have to say, as far as it is, I love it. Actually, I gave my unit to an esthetician for her to try before she bought it. So I'm actually using the Pico Wave. If you have the lift, which most of you do, because this is really only for people with the lift, there is an option for direct attachment. And then there's the option for the balls. I like both. Um, it's really your call. The reason I like both is because a lot of times I will use the balls in smaller areas, and I like that versatility. Um, but sometimes I like just having the direct. So that's a total personal preference. If that's something that you want to see and do, um, just call me and I can help you direct attach it. Many times I'll direct attach it for people. The reason I don't talk about it is because I just kind of feel like it's a pain in the ass because you can't undo it. And the balls you can. And that is a huge, I think that's a big consideration you have to take in consideration. So let's start, if you put gel, let's just place, I didn't put gel, so but you guys place it right on those clavicles. Let's get some of this lymph that we've kind of just, let's just start right here. And just kind of hold it there. I still have the timer going. So I'm going to probably maybe not hold 3 minutes per area, but move. Um, a fun thing would be, if you really wanted to, is to purchase a metronome. I don't know if you know what a metronome is, but it's people use it when they play musical instruments, and it clicks, 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 clicks. So sometimes I like to set it. It's very kind of a therapeutic sound. So in your treatment room, it wouldn't be offensive. It's mesmerizing. But you could do that clicking to a certain count that you wanted, or to kind of set a pace. So we're just going to kind of move up slowly. So if you had that metronome, it would be like click, 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 click. And you could do it for 10 and hold, then come down. I think when I do it personally on myself, it's a very light sensation. So I almost feel like I'm moving with the acknowledgement of that sensation. And then up. You can go your jaw back, because we're going to go all the way up, holding underneath the jawline. And down. I'm going to get a metronome for our next session, at Amazon sells them. Now, once you come all the way down and towards the armpit. So if you have to break and put on more gel, go ahead, because I want to go back into the back of the neck area. A lot of these sessions, I haven't done a lot of microcurrent, because I get so carried away with the release that then I feel bad keeping you on longer for microcurrent. But you can always break this up. Well, let's really do just a nice, at least a 20-minute microcurrent. Again, I kind of told you guys in the very beginning, if you're just getting on, this was intentional. I was testing a glycolic acid and timing. And in this case, I didn't take it off. I remembered when I fell asleep. It was at nighttime. Worst time to do stuff, right? Um, but it'll heal. I'm not worried about it. Okay, so let's go back now to the back area. And we're gonna lift up. And go ahead and press in, almost like you're using the Anma, the other tool. And you're just really kind of feeling, let's go underneath that occipitable and lean into that. Like you're lifting up. And come down. One of my cords is loose and I had to make sure it was still plugged in. What I love about the lift is when you're doing this, you literally can feel bumps underneath the tissue where there could be possible adhesions for the future release. You can feel the inconsistencies if it's not smooth. And down. And let's come more towards the front. The Tony manufactures my units. It is cleared with the FDA to go over the thyroid. So it's not something that you have to worry about. Holding. And down. So we've just decompressed all of this area, which is amazing. And now we're just giving nutrients and blood flow, maybe repolarizing. Come down to the center of the décolleté and let's go all the way out to the armpit. Let's do that one more time. Kind of going in, pivoting. If you want to pivot the other way, whatever way you want, there's no difference in the distribution of current. Leaning back, going up right underneath that jawline and holding. And coming down. Coming down parallel. Going across into the armpit. So let's go ahead and just place our probes right underneath the jawline. Kind of hold in this area. The chin is just such a crazy space. On Sunday, we'll be working a little bit of the lower, like kind of like what we did our lower face. We'll be doing a lot more in the neck and underneath the jaw, with the paddle and with our fingers inside the mouth. And let's just kind of go to the side. And then let's go towards one another. For this one, I think I am going to turn them around, putting the two in the front. So I'm going to go out to the side. And as I angle in towards this jaw, I'm kind of pinching that muscle. Don't let them touch because they'll cancel one another out. You can see. And then going back. And I'm kind of angling to those two, just the two, or maybe the four and pinching right in that cheek. And then coming up right to that buccinator area. Let's just hold in this area. And come right over those lips. Do you see how I kind of, when we don't use all of them, like I've got these two and the back. So all the current is going through these first six. And then all I'm going to do is release and go towards the jaw now. And now I'm using more of the back. Now I'm going to go up right underneath that cheekbone. And I'm just going to kind of go right in this space. And that's the beauty of this probe. I love, it conforms to the face. It conforms to the bone structure. And now coming right in. And pulling out. Let's go right in by those muscles next to the nose. So I'm probably using these 4 on each side. You can see right in there. And pulling out. Now I'm like right in that maxillary area. Got the zygomatic major and minor. And then I'm just going to pull all the way out, tracing that bone. I do that one more time, going right underneath. And moving now a little bit further around that orbital rim, cheekbone, going all the way out now, just using the 2, tracing that cheekbone all the way back. Next, we're going to place these 4 again right on every corner of the eye. So you can see I'm going to lift my eyebrow. I have the inner, I have the outer, I have the inner, and I have the outer. And this is just an amazing circulation for this whole muscle. We're getting every aspect of it. I'm just going to go out the outer edge of the eye. Oh, yeah, have your eyes closed if you like, looking to the left, looking to the right, looking up, looking down. And all I want you to do is set now the rest of the probe right into that temple area, lifting. Let's do that again. I'm gonna go right, those 4 right there. Just gonna hold. If you're only doing one probe, then you can just do the other eye if you like. And now taking all the way out, stretching out that muscle, and getting into where all of those crow's feet are, getting nutrients, circulation, energy, closing the eyes, looking up. Looking down, looking left, looking right. Now laying the other part of it down, right in that temple area, and lifting. If you want, you can place your head down. Feels so good on that temple area. And when you're ready, let's place the probe right on the brow. So I have it right underneath that that orbital rim, and I'm lifting. So I'm placing it here and lifting. You may need to get more gel or whatever you use. If it's a little tender in that area, adjusting your unit. The eye area is a lot different. We're just kind of lifting and lifting. And again, I'm just going to place my head or my head right into my hand area, letting this work. And now you may want to bring the probes to the side, frontalis. Don't forget to breathe, just like when we're doing the decompression. The breath assists in the success of the microcurrent. The probes start moving slowly. Let them. It's just the tissue kind of kind of opening up even more. As you're doing it, go ahead and let it run all the way into the scalp. Taking deep breaths in, relaxing, exhaling it all. And when you're ready, let's move to the center of the forehead. Just kind of in here, you might want to just kind of cross over the two little, kind of in the center, leaning into that forehead and just holding. And just like when we were doing the release, kind of pulling down the forehead, letting that current really get in. And looking more down at the stomach or at the chest, kind of not forcing, but shifting those probes to go in more towards the scalp and holding. A bit more towards the top of the forehead, holding. And when you're ready, come up and let's just take the probe right to the center. Sometimes I like it right on my lips. Now we're slowly going to come out, pressing into slowly making it out. And switch sides. So funny, my left side is so much more sensitive to my right side. I wanted to see if it was the probes, but it's just my nerve set up. And let's just take the 4 right along that jawline. So we're almost cross-hatching the current. So we kind of did one way up and down. Now we're doing it side by side. So we're just feeding more current differently to the tissues. I love this area, even nerve in there that kind of feeds the whole face, kind of waking up. Let's go right over that sternocleidomastoid. You're just holding in there. And coming down. All right. So that was today's workout. I'm going to pause the recording and then we can talk.